On this episode, we smoke the Cain Daytona by Oliva, a Nicaraguan puro made entirely with Cuban seed ligero. We talk a little bit about Nicaraguan tobacco. I'm Johnny Midas, and you're listening to Burn Line Podcast. Burn Line Podcast. The burn line on a well-crafted cigar is straight and sharp as a razor, much like our wit and wisdom. And what's up, everybody? Johnny Midas here with Nick the Brick McCann. Nick, how are we doing this morning?
I dream of hearing you say these words every week, Johnny.
I'm nothing if not consistent. All right, so we have got our coffee going. What are we drinking this morning?
It's black coffee.
Black coffee.
Black coffee.
Black coffee. Yeah, what kind?
I believe it's coffee.
Lincoln Blockade.
No, it's Quartermaster. My
Quartermaster.
Goodness gracious.
I have such a shit palate. It's completely trash.
Hey, you should get on air and rate cigars.
You know what I should do? I should get on air and rate coffee. We have a Jamaican blue bonnet pea berry.
Sir, this is... You drank tea. That was tea.
Tea, coffee, whatever. It all comes from a plant. Just like these cigars, we are about to smoke the Cain Daytona by Oliva. So let's jump right in because I want to get this cigar lit up, and we will talk about presentation. So this is a value cigar, and the packaging reflects that. The cigar itself has a single foot band that is orange and gold with the black cursive Cain, and then like the block font Daytona branding underneath it. So the actual body of the cigar, this is actually pretty attractive. So this cigar we're smoking the 5x50 Robusto, my favorite size, except possibly a Corona. It has a Nicaraguan Habano wrapper, and this is really pretty. You know, this is a medium color. It's oily, and it's just having that whole stick there with just the label at the end is a really interesting choice for presentation where you really can see the whole stick. You know, they're not hiding anything. And, you know, I can see, like, I got a little flake here.
Oh, my goodness.
You can see that. And then you can see where the cap is sealed right here. I have a pretty good seal. I'm worried about right here because it's right where my blade is going to go.
You should punch it.
I don't know, man. I don't
You know beforehand that it's might not do what you want it to do, and you're still going to do it?
I do. Yeah, I have to test it for everybody's sake. And then there's a little bit right here that was underneath the wrapper where that's
the band.
Underneath the band.
Please.
I mean, the wrapper is a little trash there, right?
Can you
describe it?
No, I can't even see it, to be honest with you.
Oh,
what? Is that glue?
Yeah, it's glue off of the...
Okay.
It's glue off
They just kind of overdid the glue.
Yeah. It got through, and then it took a little flake off of the wrapper. So we'll see what that tastes like when it burns. But the wrapper's pretty good looking. A little bit more about the cigar. The binder is Nicaraguan, and supposedly it's a fairly spicy leaf they used for the binder.
Ooh.
And the filler is Jalapan ligero. So the Cain series is supposed to be straight ligero.
Yeah.
The Cain Daytona is like the second gen, second approach, second try.
Yeah, I think just a Cain.
There's just a Cain,
and it's got a white foot band.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Daytona is like second in the Cain series.
Is that Dale Earnhardt Sr. driving around the band?
Yeah. No, I think it's Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Shake and bake, baby, shake and bake. So I think the presentation of the individual cigar is pretty sharp, especially for something in this price point. This 5x50 Robusto retails here at Union Cigar Hanover for $7.75. And we are coming to you, as always, from the Hot Box, the smoky back room where deals are struck and fortunes are made, adjacent to the Blanco Cigar Lounge, nestled among the complex of rooms that comprises Union Cigar, Hanover, Pennsylvania, USA, the only Blanco lounge in North America. And
could I amend that?
Yeah, you can amend that. Were you going to add contiguous instead of adjacent? I thought about using that word instead.
Oh. Wait, is there? Wait, about the Blanco Lounge in North America?
Well, no, the Smoky Back Room. We're contiguous with the Blanco Lounge.
Oh,
We're also adjacent to.
yeah. No, I motion that it's soon to be smoky.
Soon to be Smoky.
Soon to be Smoky Back Room.
Soon to be Smoky Back Room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to. Maybe I should save it till the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Can't say it until we
Until
lit
we
these
smoked
cigars.
it up. Yeah, it's a real hot box. And then the box it's just a straightforward, like, natural wood box. So
Slide top, slide off top.
yeah, slide off top, not painted or lacquered or anything. Very, I guess, like, honest, straightforward approach, and of course helps keep the cost down, which is great. A very affordable stick. Really, the price point, like sub $8 nowadays, is hard to find. I mean, I remember what were Charter Oaks selling for, like $2.99 or something.
Oh, geez, yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, so $7.75 for a Robusto, all ligero. So these are all top primings. Those are, that's not cheap leaf.
Right. Straight. They say straight ligero.
Yeah.
Somewhere I can't remember if it's on the box or it's not on
Yeah.
the band. But interestingly enough, no mention of Oliva.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Even though this is an Oliva brand,
Right.
it's definitely, like, packaged and distributed as its own thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because it's an affordable, approachable cigar.
Right.
And Oliva wants to maybe keep the Oliva brand elevated. Kind of like Lexus and Toyota kind of thing. Both have a great product, but
Or like Ashton and San Cristobal.
oh yeah,
Right. I mean, like that's an entirely separate.
yeah. They definitely keep those brands apart. All right, so the wrapper is Nicaraguan Habano. The binder is spicy Nicaraguan with Jalapan ligero filler, and it is time to clip this cigar. The official cutting. We remind you to clip that cigar with authority. No limp-wristed cutting allowed, and I really screwed this up.
That was so good too. We were so in sync there.
We were. That was like an Olympic swimming team, synchronized swimming team. How is that a sport, by the way? I mean, don't get me wrong.
Synchronized swimming?
Yeah, like, it's extremely difficult.
Is it in the Olympics?
It was when I was growing up. I haven't really watched the Olympics since, like, Miracle on Ice. Oh, rookie move. I left my phone on. Did you guys hear that in the background?
Dude, that happened like
You would think, like,
45 seconds ago.
I'm on delayed reaction, man. I'm not even a quarter of the way through my cup of coffee. All right, so we got that clipped. We're tapping out the extra dottle, which I'm having to do very carefully because I did split my wrapper when I clipped it. I think I glued it down. That actually looks like it took. That looks pretty good.
Are your carpals and your tarsals in your fingers or your feet?
Your metatarsals are your foot bones.
What about
and-
carpals? Oh, that's your finger.
Yeah,
Carpal tunnel, right?
yeah.
This is the metacarpal method.
Oh my God.
That's what we're doing.
So he's fingering his cigar, is what he's saying. All right, so we got a pretty good clip, and it is time to light these cigars. I am using my Rocky Patel officially unofficial Johnny Midas lighter, white and rose gold. Looks like something that I would use. Anything that glitters. And you have got your triple flame flat blade.
Wait, are you gonna cold draw?
All right, I'll cold draw.
Do you want to?
Yeah, let's cold draw.
Dried fruit. Dried fruit.
Dried fruit.
Raisins.
Okay, I will say that there's a little more leather on this than a lot of cigars.
This is good too. I think cold draw to get the feel for this is Tobacconist Tip of the Week mini edition. Cold draw so you can get a feel for how the draw is going to be.
Yeah.
If it's too tight, because ideally you want to like draw poke before you light your cigar, because it's kind of just a pain. But anyway, let's go.
All right, let's go ahead and toast these cigars. As always, we remind you, toasted, not roasted. Don't blow the hell out of that cigar. Don't jam that lighter in there. you know who you are if I'm talking to you. So this is a 5x50 Robusto, my favorite size. I mean, I like probably prefer Coronas, but they're just so rare nowadays. Robusto is a great choice for me, and it's going to light, I think, much more evenly and a little quicker than your big ring gauge stuff. In fact, I was just talking to you about before the show about a cigar that I normally really enjoy that I could only find in a 60 ring gauge, and I didn't enjoy it. It was a different cigar.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about the ratios of the tobaccos or the type of tobaccos they use. You have to change, you have to add leaves, you have to subtract leaves, but also like the vitola and the way it smokes, right? The mouthfeel, everything kind of contributes to it. So,
well, and the options are limited, like at 60 and above, because if I clip it like normal, there's just too much surface area. I'm not getting enough back pressure. There's too much airflow through the cigar. It's easy to overheat it. It's easy for it to burn improperly. But if I punch it, I'm going to get tar buildup. It's just trying to funnel all of that down. Plus, you're not really you're kind of drawing the smoke through the center, right? So that's just my experience with bigger ring gauge cigars. Lots of people love them.
yeah.
We have this one guy that keeps emailing the show that really likes big ring gauge cigars. So
What?
you know who you are, Angle.
Angle. This is good, man. This is really. I haven't had one of these in a while.
Man, I will tell you, if you take the time to properly toast it, those first two puffs are out of this world.
Unparalleled.
Unparalleled.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Like, I could put this cigar down and then, like, wait 30 minutes and just do that again.
Yeah, yeah.
So, this is I think, interesting flavor right now because I've got the little bit of, like, coffee with cream and sugar in it. So a little bit of a coffee taste, but it's like more like a fancy coffee, if that makes sense. There's some sweet there, but there's a little bitter in there that I describe as green bell pepper. So
green bell pepper.
Yeah, you know how they have like there's a little sweet and a little bitter in there.
Yeah,
that's kind of what and vegetal.
It's a vegetal bitter.
Yeah.
Like if you ever snapped a small twig off a tree and chewed it when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on that's some real Tom Sawyer shit right there.
Mm-hmm. And definitely has that like Nicaraguan spice cabinet little bouquet in there. It's spicy, but it's not like fucking cayenne pepper spicy. It's more like a broad range, including allspice and.
I've been doing this thing recently and it's pretty intoxicating. I got to be honest with you, but I retrohale, but I retrohale very slowly. So like you can do like how the bowl, like the cartoon bowls, they'll go
mm-hmm.
and like they'll just blow a bunch of smoke out of their noses. Even
though
though
that guy just did.
Yeah. But do it real slow.
Well, while you're doing that, here's something that's super cool. Pay attention to the top front of your tongue, and the flavor will change when you retrohale slowly. And that's pretty much all cigars. It's something about how your mouth works.
Pay attention to the top front of your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean pay it? You mean just think about how it feels and tastes?
Yeah, taste from that part.
Do you hover it in the air?
Well, the smoke is actually moving across your tongue because you're forcing the smoke through the back of your throat up out your nose slowly.
Yeah, right.
And I think it has to do with the air current moving slowly. But on this cigar, what I've noticed is it sort of heats up, if that makes sense. Like it sort of has a slightly warmer, almost like a cinnamon spice cookie type of flavor. And that it also has to do with what parts of your tongue pick up different flavors. If you're focusing on the sides of your tongue near the back, you will really pick up the bitter.
Woo! This is excellent. This is a good call. This was Johnny Midas' call.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Usually-
I wanted to smoke a really good cigar that was at a lower price point
Absolutely.
because we've been smoking a couple higher dollar cigars on here.
Drop us a flippin' line if you want us to smoke any cigars.
Absolutely.
'Cause
burnlinepodcast@gmail.com. Drop us a line. While we're at it, we do have listener emails this week.
No way.
And
More?
it's not Angel.
That's incredible. We also got a
All
comment.
right.
We also got a comment on one of our YouTube videos.
Yeah, we got a comment on a YouTube video. That means we're officially real.
Real.
We're real.
We exist.
Yep. Okay. This email is from YouTube. Copyright claim. Your video has been blocked in some countries. Episode 10.
No.
Episode 10, Ferio Tego Timeless Supreme 554. And the copyrighted content is Danger Zone, and it's blocked in Russia. So for all of our Russian listeners out there, sorry that you live in a communist country.
And that was
Right.
that was from YouTube.
That is from YouTube.
From YouTube to Burn Line Podcast.
Also have a subscriber. He is a employee of mine, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And a new comment. So Robert C. commented on the episode 23, Las Calaveras 2023, Tobacco Seed Varietals Part 1. This is my favorite cigar right now. Great tasting cigar from Crowned Heads. And we agree. It is a great tasting cigar from Crowned Heads.
Really awesome. Really, really awesome.
And, all right, so here's the real email.
Yeah, real email.
Sometimes I have trouble with pinholes in the side of my cigar. Is there anything I can do about it? Okay, so it's damn.
So he's saying the cigars are coming punctured.
I'm assuming that the pinholes he's experiencing, like Cameroon wrappers have this a lot. Some of the more fragile wrappers could be from beetles, might be storage. So here's what I'm going to say. First of all, check your storage. You may have beetles in your humidor. You'll know if your cigar pops. If you're smoking one with a pinhole and it pops, that's a beetle catching fire. And you may need to change your storage. As far as like once you start smoking the cigar, there's actually a couple of things you can do. So I know some guys that have perfected the art of holding the torch flame very close to that hole and sealing it up. I cannot do that.
What?
I've tried it. I can't do it.
That's ridiculous.
I've seen one guy do it, and it works.
No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I just fucking blew a hole in the side of my cigar. So don't, maybe try it, but maybe not. I can't find a YouTube video.
Only do it with the soft flame if you're ever going to try that. Just use a soft flame.
Yeah. But what I do is I slide the band down and cover it.
Great.
So that just keeps, if air comes through there, the problem is once it heats up enough near the pinhole, that turns into a secondary combustion point, and next thing you know, you've got a really weird smoking experience.
Yeah. Or you could just hold your fingers when you hold the cigar. You just cover them.
Yeah, you can do that as well.
Just
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever smoked a cigar that had more than one pinhole, so it should be fairly easy to keep it covered. So
Yeah, I mean, if it's a pretty widespread issue for you, definitely check out your storage methods and see if you can't bring the temp down that you're storing your cigars at. And if they're coming that way to you,
find a new tobacconist.
yeah, probably
Yeah.
some happen in the shipping or the cigars are getting battered around in there, or whoever stored it before you was storing them improperly.
Good call from Nick the Brick McCann, our certified retail tobacconist on the show. So, Nick, give me a couple of thoughts about the flavor here on this Cain Daytona by Oliva.
It's just I'm just getting like spicy leather, but it's freaking awesome. Like really, really good. Very smooth, which is a word that I think gets used a lot, but it's just not a bad word to use. But it is not. I am not getting punched by this cigar. This has not proven to be a wake up call for me. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and spicy leather, and then I think secondarily, like woods, cedar,
Yeah,
some woody notes.
I would add that this type of flavor construction is among my favorites, and it's what I describe as full flavor, medium body.
Yes.
That's kind of, when we say smooth, that's usually what I mean. It's like it's got a depth of flavor. It's very rich in flavor, but it's medium bodied. All right. With that, it is time for our tobacconist tip of the week. Nick McCann, take it away. And now your tobacconist tip of the week with Nicholas McCann.
Yo. So there are, we've talked about different ways to cut your cigars. There are different ways to cut your cigar. You can punch, you can straight cut, you can cat's eye, V-cut, you can cross them. When you cross them, what's that called?
Crossing them?
No. All right.
Cross cut. We're just going to call it cross cut.
Okay, yep. But did you know that there are different depths of V-cuts? So some V-cutters only enable you to cut a very shallow V into your cigar, and some V-cutters allow you to cut a much deeper V into your cigar. So if you found a V-cut that you didn't like, maybe try and give another V-cut a shot that has a different depth to it. Usually this has something to do with how far you can put the cigar into the cutter itself. So the further you can put the cigar into the cutter, the deeper the V is going to be. And obviously the more shallow the cut's going to be.
And since this is audio only, I will go ahead and let the audience know that Nick is acting this out while he's talking. So not much help to you guys, but great for me. Nice visual, Nick. That is a great tip. There are definitely different V cutters. Generally there's shallow, medium, and deep. And the deep can be too deep. So, I was smoking with Keith, and he was a big fan of his Calibri deep V cut, and we were smoking a smaller ring gauge cigar, and he clipped.
Wow.
Yeah, he V'd it too deep past the cap, and it messed the cigar up.
Yeah.
Wrecked the cigar smoking experience. So I've usually seen it the other way around, though, where guys use a shallow V cut, and it's just not enough. And then they'll cross cut it, you know. And then sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't, depending on the condition of the wrapper and how, tightly the cap is applied. Some cigars, like, they really mash the end down and really mash that. And those V-cut pretty well. If it's softer, it's harder to get a good V-cut. And then you got a couple of flaps on either side of the V-cut. Nick, thank you for that.
X-cutting?
X-cutting, yeah, something like that. All right, let's talk a little bit about Nicaraguan tobaccos as we enjoy this Cain Daytona with its Jalapa and ligero. This is a Nicaraguan puro, so let's talk about Nicaragua. Where is Nicaragua? Nick, from Nicaragua.
Central America.
Is it named after you?
Sorry. I was named after Nicaragua.
It is located in Central America. It is south of Honduras and north of Costa Rica. So this is in contrast to what famous country that makes a lot of cigar tobacco is not in Central America?
Dominican Republic.
And it is?
In the Caribbean.
It's an island, and it's technically half an island, isn't it?
Yeah, the Dominican Republic takes up half an island, shares the other half with Haiti.
So Nicaragua it's really famous for its rich soil and good climate. Like it really is a Goldilocks area for growing cigar tobacco. It nails both. Dominican Republic also has good climate and good soil. However, being on an island, it's subject to a lot more variation in nature, particularly hurricanes and severe weather that comes off of the ocean.
Yeah,
makes it a little more challenging. For the growers.
Haiti had an earthquake a couple years ago. Remember that big earthquake that Haiti had?
Yeah, it was really bad.
I'm sure the DR felt effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, I remember because there was a big controversy because Monsanto dropped off a bunch of their hybridized seeds, out of the goodness of their heart, and Haiti refused them because of all the strings attached and the fact that these seeds don't propagate, right? They don't make babies. So
what?
Yeah, It was a pretty big thing.
What?
Pretty cynical move from a big corporation. Not that ever happened.
Monsanto?
Yeah. All right, and this is not a show about that. So moving right along, the cigar industry in Nicaragua began in the 50s. Basically, the Cuban cigar industry was nationalized, under the Castro regime, and most of the fine Cuban cigar makers fled. So Dominican Republic, Nicaragua is where a lot of them landed. Now, the challenge for Nicaragua politically was the 70s and 80s. There was just a lot of turmoil and unrest.
Yeah.
And so it was really the 1990s when the cigar industry was sort of reestablished in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And had a stabilizing effect on the politics as well, I might add.
Nice.
It contributes so much to the quality of life and, revenue, gross domestic product for the country. And, this is kind of how really it works for a lot of countries is we discover over time that being prosperous and producing a great product, and peace, like they all go together. You don't see a lot of war-torn countries or countries in turmoil, producing and having a great life for the people that live there. So the cigar industry, I think, was part of stabilizing that country, had a stabilizing influence, which is awesome.
Do you know if that's their main export?
Main export of Nicaragua?
Yeah, is tobacco their main export?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would assume so. Do they produce sugar cane or anything like that?
Yeah, usually it's like the tobacco growing countries are like, it's like our sugar, coffee, or tobacco. I'll check. I'll look it up. Go ahead.
There are 4 major tobacco regions in Nicaragua. Esteli, which most people have probably heard of. There's a lot of Esteli cigars out there, like the entire Perdomo line.
That's Esteli is the epicenter.
It's the epicenter. Yeah. It's also the second largest city in Nicaragua.
Is Managua the first?
I think so, yeah.
That's the capital.
Yeah. It is northwestern Nicaragua, near the Honduran border. It's also home to most of the cigar producers in the country. Black, fertile soil, famous for its heavy, full-flavored tobacco. The tobacco is colored a little bit darker, and Esteli is famous for producing pretty much the strongest tobacco for use in cigars. There's a couple of regions giving it run for the money right now. Pennsylvania broadleaf is very strong. San Andres, Mexico, strong tobacco. The second region is Condega. So the Condega Valley is actually north of Esteli. There's a couple of cigar manufacturers located here. It's a rocky soil, and because of that, it basically the tobacco that grows here is, I guess it's a thinner leaf, and it's lighter. It's traditionally sun-grown, and that's because it has a heavy cloud cover. So this microbiome, yeah. Basically, a sun-grown Condega tobacco is lighter and less punchy because of the heavy cloud cover. The leaves tend to be more elastic and oily. They're primarily Condega tobacco is primarily used for filler and binder. So Esteli, Condega, it's a valley, and then Jalapa. So Jalapa is northeast of Esteli,
which is the cigar, right?
Yes.
Jalapa, Ligero, Nicaragua is what it says on the band.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep, that is correct. This is Jalapan Ligero filler. So it's right on the border of Honduras. Now, the Jalapa Valley is, believe it or not, it's hard to access. It's actually, it's rural, it's rugged.
Nice.
There's hills and valleys, and Jalapa has red clay, so it has pretty fertile soil, but also red clay.
Nice.
So it produces probably like the smooth and elegant tobacco in Nicaragua. So Esteli is strong, rich, bold. Jalapa is lighter, easier to work with, and really it's considered to be the sweetest region in Nicaragua, like the tobacco. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's also really famous for producing wrappers. So I don't see where Oliva advertises where the Habano wrapper came from on this cigar, but I'm assuming it's also from Jalapa.
Yeah.
And it is beautiful. We mentioned that in the start. So flavorful, rich and complex is generally how we describe tobacco from Jalapa. And then Ometepe. So it's actually
Volcano, right?
It's a volcanic island.
Yeah, nice.
Right? So it's actually located in Lake Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Right? Near the city of Grenada. So the island was created by two volcanoes called Concepcion and Madera. Concepcion is still active, by the way.
Oh,
so, yeah. So the soil is extremely fertile, and volcanic soil is famous around the world for growing stuff.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned it before, but cognac is brandy. Mm-hmm. That is, the grapes are grown in the cognac region. The wine is fermented there, and then it's distilled in the cognac region. But brandy is a whiskey that's made from red wine. And among brandy connoisseurs, Armenian brandy is often considered the best.
You say Armenian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
During the Cold War, Stalin used to ship a train car of brandy to our man in England over there.
WC?
Yes, Winston Churchill, the original, the godfather of vice. That's the real politics going on. We're going to fight each other on the radio, but in the background, I'm sending you whiskey.
Right.
And it's volcanic mountainous soil, right? So no surprise that basically Ometepe is like the perfect condition for growing tobacco.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's really described as being sweet and also like uniquely spicy.
Oh, cool.
It has its own unique spice to it. So it's similar to Jalapa, but typically the tobacco from Ometepe has more strength and sweetness. So if you're interested, you can pull up a map of Honduras. It kind of looks like a funnel.
Honduras?
I'm sorry, of Nicaragua. South of Honduras, it kind of looks like a funnel, like it's wider at the top than the bottom.
Nice.
Or like an upside-down cone. You've got Costa Rica, but I'm going to show you this map. The folks can't see it, but look how big that lake is. Like, it's almost like part of the ocean got cut off.
Oh, is it?
Or something.
Okay, Honduras. Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
holy crap.
Yeah,
That's some Pangea stuff right there, man.
Yeah. So that explains why you can have a whole tobacco growing region on an island in the middle of a lake.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So and that lake goes all the way. I mean, that's almost the full length of the country. And gosh, I mean, at its widest point, it's 25%.
Yeah,
the width of the country.
Yeah, this is like, so what I'm looking at right now is like if you put a lake in the middle of Texas that was like an eighth the size of Texas.
Yeah. So like Georgia.
like a Maryland-sized lake in the middle of Texas.
In the middle of Texas, yeah. So if you're a real cigar nerd, go ahead and look up a map of Nicaragua, and you'll get a good feel for the region. But that is a little bit about Nicaragua.
I got some crazy stuff. I got some crazy stuff for you. All right.
Yeah.
2011, Nicaraguan exports for commodity 2402, which is cigars, cheroots, cigarillos, and cigarettes of tobacco or of tobacco substitutes. Nicaraguan exports in U.S. dollars was $11,498,972. This was 2011. In 2012, right, that was 11 million. In 2012, 125 million.
Whoo!
It jumped 994% in 1 year. That's incredible.
Yeah.
What happened in 2011, 2012? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps, some of the other countries were struggling to export. I don't know.
Yeah.
What I will tell you is Nicaragua is a centerpiece of tobacco for cigars and cigar production nowadays. I mean, you go out there and walk around the humidor, and they own large swaths of real estate there.
Oh my gosh. Fuente, a long-standing Dominican Republic factory and farm, is in the process or has opened a Nicaraguan factory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, DBL, right? DBL, Francisco Almonte, Dominican through and through, right? Dominican
big leaguer is the name of the company.
He's coming out with a DBL Nicaragua.
Yep.
Right? There's no there's no escaping.
There's no escaping.
Right. I mean, Nicaragua is here, and they want to play ball.
Yeah, for real. All right. So that's a little bit about Nicaraguan tobacco. Let's touch back on this Cain Daytona. We are smoking the 5x50 Robusto, which retails here at Union Cigar Hanover for $7.75. This is a Nicaraguan puro made entirely with Cuban seed ligero. It has a delicious Habano wrapper and Jalapan ligero filler. We just learned a little bit about Jalapa. So, Nick, what are you tasting, and has it changed at all?
Not a whole lot of change. What I'm surprised about is it hasn't gotten much hotter as we're kind of, I'd say about an inch or two in. It hasn't gotten, temperature hasn't increased, as in the smoke hasn't gotten hotter. And so I think by virtue of that, it's stayed the same spice level, and the flavors kind of stayed the same as well. It's still that spicy leather with woods, but it's just an awesome flavor. I'm able to retrohale like a lot, and a good amount of smoke as well.
I think for me, the pepper has picked up a little bit. The oakiness has picked up a little bit. I think the sweet has maybe been muted or overpowered a little bit by the oak and spice. And there's still that background vegetal bitter, which is really balances out the flavor, I feel like. And I think you're right. Like, wood has a naturally... I'm not even sure the right word. Like, bitter is almost the wrong word because it has a broad range. Like, if you bite into a raw eggplant versus, like aromatic bitters that you put in your scotch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not sure because it's like that sweet bitter that comes from stuff grown in the ground, you know. And what I like about it is it adds an experiential element where it's like, I know this is a product that came out of the ground.
Yeah, for sure.
There are a lot of super refined, some of them completely delicious cigars, but they've been refined to the point where it's you almost don't know that this is a farm grown product. And what I like about this, that little vegetal tinge in the cigar is like it connects you to the earth almost.
Right. Yeah. So I always think about how grossly unprepared I am to talk about flavor and like the flavor wheel and like what we taste. So I'd love to get like a cigar connoisseur slash like, I don't know, what are professional, like people that know taste buds professionally.
Mm-hmm.
What are those people called?
I don't know. Sommelier.
Yeah. Right. But I also want to know the science behind it. Like, I want someone to come in here and say, when the smoke interacts with your...
Yeah. You're such a nerd. Yeah, I was drinking a painkiller down at Covalent Spirits in Westminster.
And a painkiller is what?
Oh, it's a mixed drink. It's a summer concoction that has like orange juice and coconut.
Oh.
And I'm not a huge fan, but I'm a fan of their drinks because they're not only very well crafted, but also with all fresh ingredients. And I was trying to I couldn't think of the flavor. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a wonderful, nutty, what is it? It's fucking nutmeg. You grate nutmeg. And of course, they use fresh nutmeg. Makes all the difference. But, it was just an example. Like, I knew what I was tasting. I just couldn't, remember the name. if that makes sense. You know, that happens a lot when I'm tasting cigars. I'm like, this is such a familiar flavor, but you know, I don't know the name of it right now. You know,
I heard a story about a guy in a factory down in Nicaragua talking to an American, and he's the guy at the factory was telling him, you know, like the gringo makes up like these flavor notes and stuff, and all there is good tobacco and bad tobacco, and that's it. And I think like the point is,
well, agree to disagree.
Really?
well, agree to disagree. Because I'm tasting periwinkle. No, I think the point is like it doesn't matter if you can, like I don't know. For us, we have nothing else to do. We want to be able to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, we love this stuff,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be
Yeah,
able
the
to
everyday
pinpoint
person.
flavors to
Right.
enjoy a great
Yeah.
cigar.
Yeah. Do you like it? Yes or no? Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And also, I would add, you know, there is such a thing as excellent tobacco that is not blended very well. I've had cigars that are intentionally made this way, where it's just a flat flavor, and somebody likes it and smokes it because they sell them and they're on the shelf, right? So it's all individual taste and enjoyment. And I always tell folks, you know, whatever you enjoy smoking, just smoke it. You know, this is for you. This is a you-centric hobby. If you like acid blondies, smoke them. You know,
Yeah, right.
just not in the lounge or near me. But this Cain Daytona, really excellent.
Really excellent.
Full flavor, like I said, with the medium body, you can retrohale every puff if you want. Really explore the tobacco and the flavor. Very approachable price point. I think it's really a home run by Oliva. And that's where we're at with the tasting. Still a little bit of that like coffee with cream in there. But I think the major notes right now for me is like oak leather spice and a little vegetal bitter.
Oh my golly, this retrohale is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like intoxicating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really getting. It's like when I was a kid, like 12, like an altar boy. And this is not a bad story. All right, so you know, like you're in church and like they're doing the incense thing.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is this smell I'm smelling?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like a kind of like a bizarre smell. It kind of takes you like, you know, what the heck is going on? That's kind of what this is. It doesn't taste like incense, but it reminds me of that feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's nice that the strength of the cigar is such that you can really do that and enjoy it. You know, there's a lot of cigars out there, like, they're too strong, you know, to really enjoy the retrohale.
Yeah.
You know, you feel your nose hairs, like, curling,
Right,
you know.
right.
And I think that's what makes this cigar kind of cool. So with that, it is time for our cigar news of the week. Nick, take it away. Cigar news. Here is your host, Nicholas McCann.
All right. Woohoo. All right. I'll just read the first line of this article. Judge Amit P. Mehta of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia has ruled in the premium cigars industry's favor by vacating the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's deeming regulations for premium cigars. Woo!
Yeah, so basically what the judge has said is premium cigars are not the same as cigarettes and can't be regulated under the same rules.
Yep.
So big win for the industry. And, of course, those of us that are sort of in the cigar hobby know, like, there's zero correlation. Like, there's just zero correlation. It's not even close to the same thing. And as expensive as they have made cigarettes, it's not as expensive as cigars.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, totally different experience. And the health is also different. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it on the show, but the FDA has covered up all of the research they've done on health around premium cigars because they are getting outcomes that completely submarine anything they're trying to do.
Well, and we know from seed to plant, right? It's essentially the same. Seed varietals are different, but from the curing to the smoking, everything is different between cigars and cigarettes.
Oh, absolutely.
Every single step in the process is different.
As well
curing.
as well as soil prep,
Yeah.
fertilizers,
Probably harvesting.
absolutely,
Yeah.
pesticides.
Yeah.
totally different. And you don't have a fiberglass filter, and you're not burning paper, and yeah, totally different.
Yep.
So I think that's a great ruling. What else have we got this week?
Big one, kind of in the boutique world. McAuliffe Cigars has taken over All Saints sales, and Mickey Pegg has been named president of sales for McAuliffe. So Mickey Pegg was on the CAO team for a long time. And then a couple years back, he debuted his own line of cigars called All Saints Cigars. I think they have the Dedicación St. Francis is one of them. Yep.
Yeah. That was a pretty good stick.
Yeah. He's good stuff. He's an industry veteran, I guess.
Yeah.
Knows what he's doing. Work with Rick Rodriguez at CAO. But this is kind of big, I think, for McAuliffe, because McAuliffe doesn't have a whole lot of visibility outside of, I want to say, like the Midwest. Like Texas is where they're centered. And so like us on the East Coast. I don't know. Have you seen a McAuliffe in a store anywhere recently near here? Because I don't see him ever.
So McAuliffe, I've seen them here in this region in Texas.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing McAuliffe in South Carolina. That was a few years ago.
Okay.
Or Illinois or Minnesota, or pretty much limited to Texas and this region is where I've seen them.
Yeah.
And they make good sticks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was another story of a billionaire who wanted to make his own cigar brand. And
interesting. The branding is really interesting because for me, McAuliffe gives off this like sort of old world, old money, British vibe. You know, like maybe a castle in Ireland or something, or Scotland or something.
Their logo's a coat of arms with a knight on it.
Yeah. Definitely not your traditional Hispanic, Spanish influence.
Look at this, man. Like the All Saints, the shield.
Yep.
And then the knight. Like they need to mash it up where they put this in the.
Oh yeah.
Like that'd be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing the thing again where it's like we don't have video.
Yeah. No video, audio only. But so I'll be interested to see how this works out. So I guess McAuliffe will be doing the sales and distribution for All Saints, and then Mickey Pegg is. So he's kind of, I don't know, they're kind of joining back. I mean,
yeah, they're and I think this will be good for McAuliffe, like I said, because Mickey has brought a lot of visibility to All Saints in the past year or 2 or 3. Like I'd say, as far as traction in the past 3 years, All Saints has gained a lot of traction, whereas McAuliffe is kind of, I don't know, maybe been on a steady plateau.
Yeah.
So I think this will actually result in a lot of growth for McAuliffe as well.
Yeah.
And then probably like the financial part of McAuliffe will benefit All Saints.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. So that's your cigar news for the week. Thank you, Nicholas McCann, CRT. And we are back to our Cain Daytona. And one of the things that I like about our cigar podcast, besides the fact that it's the best in the world, is we focus on a cigar and, we talk about it. And I've noticed a lot of cigar podcasts fall into 2 categories. One is the snob, where it's like, yeah, they'll focus on a cigar, but they're smoking cigars that we don't smoke every day, right?
Yeah.
Not super approachable. And sometimes they're like just snobby, It's like this, to me, this hobby is about enjoying good tobacco, not about picking apart somebody's, 13-year-old baby that costs you $35 to smoke,
Yeah.
That seems a little pretentious, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the guy that's putting that cigar together knows more than you do. It's nothing personal. So we only pick apart cheap cigars.
Only ones that we can afford.
But the other bucket that I see a lot of cigar podcasts fall into is like, it's this awesome conversation about everything except the fucking cigar they're smoking. It's like, well, wait a minute. What are you again?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this Cain Daytona a little bit. So let's talk about use case on this cigar.
Oh my goodness. Use case is buy a box and smoke one to and from work, or smoke one on the golf course, or enjoy the crap out of one in the lounge with your friends.
Yeah, I think that this is an amazingly versatile cigar.
Absolutely.
absolutely box worthy.
Yeah.
This is a cigar where you want to go out and pre-order, prepay a box, get a discount, and enjoy the hell out of it. You can do so much with this. It's medium body, even though it has a full flavor to it, which means you can go fishing with it. With the approachable price point,
Yep.
You're not too worried about if you drop it in the water by accident.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, no one wants to do that with any cigar,
Right.
but it's a lot different from a $25 Padron or something.
100%.
It's not going to knock you on your ass, so you can mow the lawn, you can grill out, you can golf, you can enjoy it in your car if you're a car smoker without, totally saturating the interior of your car with some dark, heavy scent.
Yeah.
You
I think this is good. This is good to share too. Right.
Absolutely.
This is good as a sharing cigar.
Yeah. If you have anybody, they might not be like an everyday cigar smoker, just an occasional, but they'll really appreciate the flavor, but it's not going to get them high,
Right.
No one's going to be green around the gills smoking this.
And I know the answer to the question I'm about to ask, but for the folks at home, JM, how many times have either of us had to touch up this cigar?
We haven't.
We have not at all.
We haven't. It's burning very well. Look at this burn line.
Oh, yeah.
And, the punchline here is, it's Burn Line Podcast, and I at least struggle with most of the cigars because I'm talking so much.
Yeah.
And I have to be like really intentional to take a break and keep the draw going. And these have burned very well.
Fantastic.
Very smooth. I mean, look, it's just
Yeah. That's for you being in the final third, for that burn to still be that sharp is fantastic.
Yeah, this looks like the first half inch of the cigar.
Yeah, like you just deliberately lit it fully.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been what a wonderful experience. Thank you, Cain. Cain and Abel, thank you.
Cain Daytona by Oliva. So is it Oliva or Oliva?
Oh, dang.
Oh, there goes your 1 inch ash. See if you
Whoops.
can pick it up. I want to see this.
All right. I think it's
Oh, look at that. Yes. Just pick that whole ash up off of our card tabletop and put it in the ashtray. That's a good burning cigar right there,
this
man.
has just been awesome.
I guess that explains why the temperature stays low, The consistency of the bunching is just excellent in this. It's tight enough that...
You see where my finger is?
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like,
I
it's
know,
not
like
even
you
that
can-
hot.
Like your finger is right on the black stripe
Yeah.
of the burn line, and you can touch it. That's amazing. Nice, very consistent light gray ash, which, for a straight ligero, I'm really impressed because ligero is not known
Right.
for burning
It's
capability.
usually the lower primings that are
Yeah.
burning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, jeez, man. This is going to get a 50.
Oh yeah, this
This
is
is
great.
gonna
This
get
is
a
a great,
50.
great cigar. So I'm looking at the ash end of my cigar, and what I'm looking for is how the burn is going into the cigar. And in a really well bunched cigar, it will look essentially flat with just flakes sort of sticking out. You can sort of tell I guess inconsistencies in the bunching if you have several sort of holes in the end. That's kind of how tunnels can get started, right?
Oh.
Don't have any of that, and I don't know what your ash looks like, but you can see that is a very consistent burn. I've got two slightly deeper pockets,
Yeah.
but the rest of it is all burning at the same
You're
rate.
you're basically talking about burn rate.
Mm-hmm.
Where filler binder and wrapper kind of all share the same burn rate and kind of move as a cohesive unit.
But
Yeah.
typically, if you have typically, not always, and maybe, you know what, we'll talk about this next week. We'll talk about bad burn experience with cigars.
Yeah.
But typically, if you have a burn rate issue, it's typically in the filler just because there's so much of it, right?
Well, the percentage chance of you.
Yes.
Right. There's one wrapper leaf and maybe two binder leaves.
Right.
And then 6 filler leaves, right? So that, the chances of it being the filler, yeah.
Look at that. Look at that cherry.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very consistent burn. So I mean, hats off to whoever picked the leaves and then also the bunching skill. Getting straight ligero to burn like this is quite a feat, and they knocked it out of the park with this. So I am in the final third, and it is still cool burning. I think this is probably an hour smoke for most people.
Yeah. An hour's about right.
About an hour smoke. If you're a choo-choo train, it'll probably go faster.
45.
Yeah. And I will say that I think, Nick, you and I, probably you more than me, but we're fairly deliberate in how we smoke our cigars. I do get distracted on the podcast, I'm not going to lie. But, we try to do long, slow draws, that keeps it cool, maximizes the flavor, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, caveat emptor, if your cigar smoking habits suck, then your cigar experience is going to be less. If you're roasting that cigar, if you're, clipping your cigar with a limp wrist and mashing it down, all of the little things that we do maximizes the enjoyment.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Cain Daytona by Oliva, a Nicaraguan puro. Why don't we go ahead and rank this cigar, and we will start with presentation. So, Nick, what are you thinking in terms of presentation?
I like the presentation. It's super, purposefully underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess underwhelming has a negative connotation, but in this case, it's not. I'm not using it negatively. I think the presentation is aptly underwhelming. I give it an 8.
8 for presentation. I had an 8 as well. The word I was going to use is honest. It's just an honest, straightforward. This is a great cigar, and it's a value cigar. I will say that the box is a real cigar box made out of wood.
Yeah.
They didn't cheap out and use cardboard or anything like that.
Right.
Which I think helps with the quality of the cigar over time. But they kept the, with the single band, which is kind of cool looking. And then just exposing that it's really a beautiful Jalapa Habano wrapper.
Yeah.
Just leaving that all exposed. Good call there. The box just plain, straightforward wooden box. You're getting what you get. So I give it an 8 for that. And then price at $7.75 for this 5x50 Robusto.
Doggone, man. That's a good value.
It is a good value.
Gosh, I don't know. It's all things considered, it's damn good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to answer why it's not a 10, but I'm going to give it a 9.
9 on price for Nick. I've got a 9 as well. And for me, the reason it's not a 10 is I'm a greedy capitalist, and I want them to sell it for $2. I'm not sure what it would take to get a 10.
Yeah.
But I will say to get, a straight ligero from Jalapa, all high primings at this price point is really surprising.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a loss leader for them.
Right.
I don't know what the finances look like, but these days any cigar under $8 is inexpensive. That's an inexpensive cigar, but you're getting a real cigar with really excellent tobacco. So 9 on price for Johnny Midas. All right, how about construction?
They rocked it. The construction was awesome. I don't know. Mine. I'm always weary of my cigars getting too squishy or getting too hot. But obviously we referenced it being cool kind of throughout the entire one. So throughout the entire episode. So it didn't get a chance to overheat and get squishy. Pretty properly stored. I didn't have any cap cutting issues. A 9.
9 on construction.
I didn't have a whole lot to complain about from it.
from Nick. So I had a problem clipping. You can see it's worked out pretty well,
Which you anticipated.
which I anticipated.
You said it even before.
Yeah, lick and stick. So that worked. And then there was some over glue that grabbed a little bit of the wrapper and took a flake off of there. And then there was a tiny flap on the edge of the wrapper going around. For those reasons, I'd give it an 8. And normally I would take off more points for that.
Yeah.
It's just this was a perfect cigar experience despite that.
Right.
Right. So, if it had affect the smoking characteristics or whatever, and to be honest with the clip, like I knew that was going to happen, and I chose to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit on me, a little bit of a user thing there.
Sure.
All right, so 9 and 8 on construction. Let's talk about flavor. Nick, what are your thoughts here?
Man, this flavor was nuts.
Yeah.
I liked this flavor a lot. It wasn't exactly typical. It had typical notes and hints of certain flavors, but this specific profile, I got to be honest with you, I haven't tasted this in a while.
Yeah.
So it's pretty unique. I personally enjoyed it a lot. So I'll give it an 8.
So 8 on flavor from Nick. Here's what I'll say about the flavor. First of all, you can tell it's a Nicaraguan cigar, and at the same time, they managed to keep the spice and strength down, which very impressive. If this was Esteli Ligero, this would be a different experience,
Yeah.
right? Making the cigar so approachable with this boutique of flavors. And the second thing is, this is going to be an odd thing to say, but if you were to sit down and think about, I'm making a cigar, I want to be a big man. This is the flavor that you would think of if you knew what it was ahead of time, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's so funny.
Yeah, like the flavor profile is like, this is a cigar kind of thing. I've got a 9 on flavor for this. I think they knocked it out of the park, and I'm still, a little flabbergasted that a sub $8 cigar is putting out flavor like this, right?
It's weird too because this cigar reminded me of one of the first cigars I ever smoked, and I don't like. There's no specific cigar I'm thinking about, but this cigar reminds me of how cigars tasted to me when I started the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely has that that throwback flavor before companies got so creative.
Yeah.
With their blends. Like
Right.
This is it's just there. This is a cigar kind of approach. All right, and that brings us to experience. Nick, rank your experience with this Cain Daytona.
This experience was good. It was, dare I say light to medium?
Yeah, I think so.
In terms of strength. Flavor was medium to full. Burn was good. Price is good. Shit, man. A 9. It's a generally really good experience.
9 on experience from Nick. I've got a 9 as well. And it's not just that this was a great experience, where I can experiment with the retro hail. It's approachable enough to really explore the smoke on your palate, but also just thinking through all the ways I can smoke this. I don't have to be in the hot box.
Right.
I would contrast this with the numero uno, where I want set and setting.
Yes.
For a cigar like that, I want to make sure everything is damn near perfect.
Yeah.
With this cigar, man, I could be grilling out. I could be, hanging out at the park with the bros, fishing, golfing, playing tag football. I mean, maybe not while smoking.
Go-karting.
Yeah, go-karting.
Riding a roller coaster.
Roller coaster. Yeah, totally.
With the bros.
So I've got it at a 9 as well.
It's almost like it's like when you're looking in the humidor and you have that kind of moment of I don't know what I want. Like this is one you'd grab.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the one that you'd be like, all right, yeah, like that sounds good. I'll have a Cain Daytona.
So that brings us the total ranking for this cigar to a 44.
Oh my
How
gosh.
about that?
Oh my.
How many sub $8 cigars are going to score in the mid 40s on our show?
That's impressive.
I mean, I got to give a hat tip to Oliva. Like they knocked it out of the park. If you're the kind of guy like me that enjoys really good cigars from time to time, but also smokes regularly, this is the one, man.
Yep.
Like, buy a box or two, throw them in your humidor, let one of them get some age, and just smoke them. And, it's going to be an enjoyable experience and, rich, full flavor, but also, like we said, medium strength,
Yeah.
light to medium. So you don't have to, like, prep yourself. You can have this before breakfast. You can have it while you're doing stuff, and it's not going to knock you on your ass. So awesome experience and cigar from Oliva. Thank you, Oliva family, for producing this Cain Daytona. This is a Nicaraguan puro, Cuban seed ligero, straight ligero, 5x50 robusto. And wrapping up with the flavor notes, there was a little bit of like creamed coffee, a lot of oak and wood, a little bit of that green bell pepper, and an appropriate amount of like pepper and spice. It's a very well balanced, delicious cigar. Thank you as always for joining us on Burnline Podcast. We will see you all again next